All right. So as we wait for more people to show up here, let me see now. Gonna make it right tonight. 3, 2, 1. Hi, Mike. Hey, Woody. How you doing, man? Yeah. So it's kind of funny. You know how last night we had that raid and we had like 6 people, sub. Well, I guess they're gone. I guess either they're gone or 6 other people are leaving, and I'm back down to 125 now subs. So, oh boy. That kind of sucks, but no, I'll get back up there soon enough, hopefully. Yeah. So, hey, so how'd your day go today? You do anything exciting today, Woody? As we gonna, of course, be sitting around to wait for more people to show up. Easy come, easy go. Yeah, that's true. Hmm. And as always, of course, I do appreciate any and all likes and shares. Um, does help with the algorithm. Hopefully, we can get some more people in here to watch. Just waiting a few minutes here to give people a chance to get in. Um, you know. Huh. Yeah. So Woody, if you are here, I might want to pass along to you. So I was just watching. Now, granted, I know I normally don't talk too much about politics on here. I try to stay away from that. But since I know you're from Arkansas, I just saw an interesting story on Cortez Pellegrino on Newsmax. There's a guy running up against your. There's a guy who will be running up against your current one of your current U.S. senators, John Boozman, in next year. That there's a guy by the name of Jeff Baquet, former football player and vet, who Army Ranger and all that, who's claiming to be a MAGA guy. So you might want to check him out. You know. And anyways, as I said, try not to get too much into politics here. Just figured I'd pass it along to you, and we got some more people coming in. Again, just waiting. See if we can get some more people in here before I get started. It says we have 2 people watching. Guess one of the people is feeling like lurking. That's okay. Hopefully we'll get some more people in soon. Gonna make it right tonight. Oh, wanna make it right tonight, tonight, tonight. Whoa. Ah, there you are. Tum 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 tiddly dum. What a duck! What a duck! What a duck! Meep 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 meep. Arriba, arriba, arriba! Yabba dabba doo! 3, 2. Contact is the reason, is the motion. Oh, we got a third person here. Everything happens. Contact. It's the answer. It's the reason. When everything happens, contact. Let's make contact. Do, 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 do. When everything has contact. Let's make contact. Do, 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 do. 3, 2, 1, contact. Here's the reason. Here's emotion. And everything happens contact. It's the answer. It's the reason. When everything happens contact. Let's make contact. Do, 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 do. 3, 2, 1, contact is the reason, is the motion. When everything happens, contact is the answer, it's the reason. When everything happens, contact. Let's make contact. Do, 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 do. 3, 2, 1, contact. Anyways, we're past the 8-minute mark now, and I know there's only two of us in here apparently. So, let's. I'm gonna at least give you a heads up on what's on tap for tonight. So we've got 7 stories in total, all from CBR. 4 comic related, 3 anime related. Including Alex Ross claiming that the Marvel Cinematic Universe or Marvel Comics is the guiding light to cinema. Apparently, something to that effect. Riley Rossmo is sharing their art from Harley Quinn, sharing some pieces that didn't make the comics during their run. Also, Titan and Dark Horse have some new releases coming out. We'll be looking at a little bit, and also, let's see, Bleach is releasing something new in honor of its 20th anniversary, and the question is asked if Violet Evergarden and Death Parade are going to get whether or not they're going to get a second season or not. So those are the 7 stories on tap tonight. We're just past the 10-minute mark here. So I'm going to go, and even though there's only 2 of us here, I'm going to go ahead and get started here. So here we go. I hope everyone enjoys the content here. Here's the first story we're going to look at here. Let's see now. Okay, so the first story here is this. Alex Ross says comics are still the little quotes guiding light for superhero cinema. That's what it was. Alex Ross explained why he believes comics are still the quote unquote guiding light for what we see in superhero film franchises like the MCU. Article by Kelvin Childs published one day ago. When I, of course, picked this, it was still within the day. So, acclaimed artist Alex Ross recently explained why he stuck to the classic looks for the characters he painted for a mural in Marvel's New York offices, instead of the costumes they sport in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. During Comic-Con at Home 2021, Ross spoke with Sal Abenanti about painting the mural's 35 individual, quote-unquote, timeless images. Now, that's an interesting word to use, considering that Marvel, when they were created in 1939, started out as being known as Timely Comics as opposed to Marvel. So, anyways, continuing on here, which were sold as variant covers and appear the I guess that's supposed to be appear on the Alex Ross Marvel Comics poster book, or in the Alex Ross Marvel Comic poster book. Quote, it was based upon characters, the versions that kind of stood the test of time the longest, unquote, Ross said. And here, I guess, is the artist added, quote, whenever you've got a new design for a particular character, it often might seem to overwhelm the company's attention to push that first. And this includes like classic looks of the FF Fantastic Four or Submariner. Or, some of these characters seem to never change, like Spider-Man, unquote. However, Ross explained, quote, but everybody gets a kind of clothing change at some point, and I was trying to just sort of stick with, in little quotes here, this is what's got the period, greatest longevity to it, little quote, little unquote. And these are not necessarily reflective of the influence of what happens in the cinematic universe, because these are kind of two different worlds. There's the publishing world, which is sort of always going to be the guiding light that influences what happens in cinema. But the cinematic stuff doesn't have to dictate what was the classic timeless version of these things. And that's what I tried to do, unquote. So that's the end of that article. So let's see what people are saying before I continue on to the next one, if anybody is saying anything. Oh. And away we go We have 5 people in here now. Yay, 5 people. As always, guys, of course, I do appreciate any and all likes and shares. That does help with the algorithm. So I thank you guys for being here. I thank you all for the likes and shares. So we will, and as Woody just said it from, um, quoting Willy Wonka from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. And away we go. On to the next story then. This is the next one. Take a read here. Harley Quinn artist Riley Rossmo shares some killer unused costume concepts. Harley Quinn artist Riley Rossmo reveals unused costume design concepts for his and writer Stephanie Phillips' run on the title. Article by Noah Dominguez, published 22 hours ago. Look at that. Of course, the comics actually made her even more sultry looking, I guess, than she was in the original animated series. When DC Comics relaunched Harley Quinn earlier this year, with writer Stephanie Phillips and artist Riley Rossmo at the helm, the former clown princess of crime debuted an all-new look, which borrows elements from a number of her previous incarnations. Rossmo has now shared several Harley redesign concepts for the title that ultimately did not make the final cut. To celebrate the release of Harley Quinn number 5, the artist shared Harley's unused costume concepts in a post to Twitter. In addition to Phillips, Rossmo tagged Harley Quinn inker Jay Leaston, colorist Ivan Placencia, and letterer Darren Bennett. The concept art paints a picture of how Rossmo experimented with different outfits, hairstyles, makeup, and weapons for Harley. I guess here are some of those pieces right there that he's talking about there. Yeah, those are some interesting, if not nightmarish looks there in some of the cases, at least. Some of those looks I think would actually give people nightmares. There are some more concept art. Look, or I guess this is more of an expanded version of what we just seen up top there. Oh, you got one over here in second from the left here that looks more like a Supergirl design almost. Well, I guess the second and fourth one from the left look kind of more like a Supergirl design, Harley Quinn design. Phillips wrote the 2-part limited series Future State Harley Quinn, which launched this past January as part of DC's Future State event. In March, the publisher then relaunched its mainline Harley Quinn series with a new issue number 1. Phillips returned to write the series, with Rossmo joining her on the project as artist. Per the full synopsis for Harley Quinn number 5. Did I miss something, or is there another new creep in a funny costume trying to take over Gotham? Villains in the city are like that multi-headed Hydra monster. Blow a few up in Arkham Asylum, and 50 more pop up in ridiculous costumes thinking they're worthy of one of those fancy character variant covers. Oh boy. And here I thought busting out Hugo Strange's new headquarters and saving the clowns was gonna be my biggest problem today. Oh boy, I guess that's Harley Quinn saying, talking about all that. Written by Stephanie Phillips, illustrated by Riley Rossmo. Harley Quinn #5 is available now from DC Comics issue #6. Goes on sale August 24th. So there we go. All right, excuse me a moment. I'm going to just step away from my computer for a moment or so. Be right back. All right, I'm back. So, anyways, looks like it's a slow night. That's it's just you and me, huh? We did. I know we had a couple other lurkers in there, but all right. So the next article we're gonna come up. We're gonna read now. Here is this one in regards to a Titans comic release here. Um, all right. So Norm Conyu's The Junction graphic novel announces release window. Exclusive. So I guess this is a CBR exclusive right here. CBR exclusively reveals the release window for Norm Conyu's upcoming Titan Comics graphic novel involving a missing child mystery titled The Junction by Tim Adams. Article written by Tim Adams, published 13 hours ago. So here we go. The release window for Norm Conyu's highly anticipated debut graphic novel, The Junction, has been revealed by Titan Comics. TBR can exclusively reveal The Junction arrives in stores in April 2022. The graphic novel follows a missing boy named Lucas Jones, who mysteriously reappears on his uncle's doorstep after 12 years. Instead of being older during his time away, Lucas still appears to be 11 years old. Whoa! So if he's gone for 12 years, he should be 23 then. Oh boy. His family, a detective and a child psychologist, soon start to investigate what happened to Lucas, along with the whereabouts of his father, who also went missing at the same time. For all we know, maybe well, at least it doesn't seem thus far, but maybe they pulled a Kent Nelson on him, where some wizards from another dimension took him and like, but this in this case didn't age him, to adulthood. Trained him in the mythical arts and didn't. But we'll see. Quote: I'm so excited that Titan Comics has given me the opportunity to share the world of The Junction, a project I began way back in 2012, so 9 years ago, with some notes scrawled on scrap paper, unquote, Konyu said. Quote, I had to rediscover my personal style to tell the tale, stitching together memories of growing up in small town Canada with dream imagery. It's been a challenging project, but a deeply personal one that I hope resonates with readers, unquote. That sounds like an interesting story. The Junction landed on numerous quote unquote best of lists, including App2 HYC's favorite indie comics of 2020 and Pipe Dream Comics' second best indie comics of 2020. Norm Conyo was also among Broken Frontier's top 6 creators to watch in 2021. He is an animator and illustrator who has worked for BBC, DreamWorks, Nickelodeon, and Cartoon Network. Residing in the UK, The Junction marks Konyu's return to comics since his years as a teenager. Norm Konyu can be found on his website, mooseboy.co.uk, and The Junction arrives in April 2022 from Titan Comics. It is available to order on Amazon in the US and Forbidden Planet in the UK and Europe. I guess here's a little bit of 12 years ago, Lucas disappeared. Now he has returned, silent, haunted, and still 11 years old. Oh, there he is right there. Not much definition, though, in the art, is there? Gorgeous in every way, hallucinatory moving and mesmerizing. Bravo from Jordan Roberts, Big Hero 6, March of the Penguins. Yeah. Have you seen Lucas? If you have any information, call the Medford Police Department 518-555-5000. Missing child, age progressed to 23 years. Only he didn't age, apparently. Lucas Jones, eight missing, 9/21/84. So the story supposedly happened in 1996, I guess, or set in 1990. Date of birth, um, May 16th, 1973. Age at disappearance, 11 years. Height, 4'10". Blue eyes, brown hair, male. Last seen wearing red and white collegiate jacket and blue jeans. Um, Lucas was last seen on the morning of September 21st, 1984, in the company of his father, Roger Jones, also missing, near the home south, near their home south of Medford. Was missing, doesn't age, and that creates. I guess here's some of the artwork and stuff. And going in, the art kind of reminds me of the Children of the Corn bit. It's just something funky about it. Welcome back. Thank you, Woody. So now we're at 33 minutes and already just about, well, that's the third story. So we're just about halfway through already. Oh. Apparently, Void Ranger came in and mentioned something and then retracted his message. I look over at the YouTube screen real quick. Hmm. So, anyways, one more in the comics section, and then get into the anime stories. And here we go. In the last of the comic book stories here. Maze Book. Jeff Lemire unwinds the secrets of Dark Horse's latest comic. Sweet Tooth creator Jeff Lemire, or Lemire, shares the inspiration behind his latest Dark Horse Comics miniseries, Maze Book, and its unexpected twists and turns. Yeah, interesting way of saying it. Article written by Sam Stone, published 6 hours ago. Even the graphic here makes it look like the guy has a maze drawn on his face there. Whether he's creating comics in a shared superhero universe or in his creator owned stories, Eisner Award winning comic writer and artist Jeff Lemire always weaves emotional catharsis and nuanced protagonist into his tales. This remains especially true for his upcoming comic book miniseries, Maze Book. Written and illustrated by Lemire, the 5-issue miniseries, launches in September from Dark Horse Comics. Maze Book's story begins with a grieving building inspector named Will who receives a call from his deceased daughter. Whoa, whoa. He gets a call from his deceased daughter. Whoa, that's kind of interesting, if not spooky. She claims to be trapped inside a labyrinth. And so the mind bending father daughter adventure begins. In an exclusive interview with CBR, Lemire shared his inspirations behind the story, teased how the narrative premise sets up interesting visual storytelling possibilities as it progresses, reflected on how May's book compares to some of his previous work. Also included in this interview is the standard cover for the first issue, illustrated by Lemire, and the first issue's variant cover, illustrated by Lemire's longtime collaborative partner, Andrea Sorrentino. Before we get into the interview here, I'm going to go ahead and because we're not super dim yet, but I'm going to turn on my room light anyways. More in preparation for it. Anyways, we're going to get to the interview. Let's see if anybody else has shown up yet. We got some more people in here. Let's see now. Wow. People are like, yes, you are Action Toys. Now, Laugh Out Loud going to be going back to lurking. Okay. Well, at least you're here, so thank you for being here, Toys ATC. As always, of course, I do appreciate any and all likes and shares. Helps with the algorithm. Let's hopefully get more people in here. So, anyways, back to the article here. Jeff, how did the inspiration for May's book and its protagonist, Will Warren, come about? Jeff Lemire and his response. I had this vague idea about a father who had lost a child and who descended into the underworld to find her. The idea was pretty dark and sort of a typical revenge thing and didn't really click. But sometime later, I looked into this idea about, I think that's supposed to be mazes, even though he said maxes, but obviously a typo right there, but I think that's supposed to be mazes, and how graphically beautiful they can be, and also how symbolic they can be. And I sort of fused that with my previous idea of his father looking for his lost child. I know Batgoat would probably be having a fit over these grammar errors here. Lost child, and things really began to click. Editors really need to look at this stuff and really make sure that things are being spelt right. The new direction freed me from the darkness and genre tropes of the first idea and set me on a new path to create a story about a man who had shut himself off from the world, going on this metaphysical journey and slowly reconnecting with humanity. Jeff Lemire's Maze book. Ooh. Interesting artwork there. CBR. Given the book's overarching premise, Will has a very unique perspective on the environment. How is it beginning that to life? How is it bringing that to life visually? Jeff's response: the idea of the maze opened up all sorts of graphic and storytelling possibilities. It was really exciting experimenting with that and playing with my layouts and page design to incorporate the idea of mazes right into the storytelling. Sometimes I do this in subtle ways, sometimes in very overt ways. For instance, there are whole pages that, if removed from the book and laid out, would all connect together, and the panels would would form a big, huge maze shape. Doing things like that to augment the emotional journey of the character was really rewarding and fun to do. Yeah, I could see that. The idea of really visualizing, like kind of wandering around a maze, that can be quite quite a visual to pick up on. Anyway, CBR. I also particularly enjoy this book's use of color. How did you want to implement that with the story? Um, Jeff, in his response here, I wanted a very restricted color palette instead of just going full color as I had in previous books like Royal City. I wanted to use a limited color palette to create the feeling of another more surreal world that is just a little removed from reality. Hmm. As we saw up earlier in the article there. CBR. Of your previous work, this book reminds me the most of Underwater Welder, with these solitary professions taken up by the protagonist. Why make Will a building inspector? And then Jeff's response here, I'm glad you mentioned Underwater Welder. While it wasn't intentional, as soon as I got into it, it really reminded me of when I was making Welder as well. This solitary man and his journey through his past and a surreal landscape. In many ways, May's book is on the flip side of Welder. Welder was about a young man feeling the pressure of parenthood, while May's book is about a man in middle age having lost a child. They act well as bookends to one another. Wow, that's kind of an interesting take there. Two books that kind of act as bookends to each other, even though they probably were written differently. Don't know if that was intentional or not, but Dark Horse 35 Years, number one, May's book. Let me see if there's anything more there. No, doesn't look like it. All right. So, anyways, as we head back into the article, then just check and see if any more comments are coming in. As someone that writes and illustrates, how soon do you know which titles you want to take on yourself as the artist, or when you are prepping the story for another collaborator? And then just response to this question is, I tend to develop stories with specific artists in mind, myself included. So right from the outset, I am looking for ideas and stories that fit the strengths of each artist I work with. In terms of myself, that also implies I have a very specific style in my art. I have things I am good at drawing and other things that wouldn't suit my art. So I develop stories to draw myself that play to those strengths and weaknesses. In general, my own stuff tends to be more grounded and character driven. Not always, but in general. What final tease can you offer for readers with Maze Book? And then Jeff's response to that is the maze leads to a place no one will see coming. Written and illustrated by Jeff Lemire, Maze Book #1 goes on sale on September the 8th from Dark Horse Comics. And I believe that's on a Wednesday. I think it's 2 days after Labor Day. That was a pretty interesting story. Pretty interesting comic to actually come out there. So that's all of the comic related stories. Let's see, we're at 46 minutes. So we're just over halfway through the stories already. So how are you guys doing? Guys have anything you want to say about the story, about the articles thus far, about what I've read, about we prepare to go into the anime portion of the articles to read? Wait. Who doesn't love a labyrinth? Yeah, labyrinths can be kind of cool. Labyrinths, no matter what whether you see them in some form of entertainment like comics or cartoons or movies or even in stories of like I know, when you hear about castles and secret entrances, I remember from history books remembering hearing a story about how Teddy Roosevelt would often sneak out with his kids in some kind of secret passageway that led out of the Oval Office. So, but the idea of labyrinths does really spark in the imagination. I'm a fair bit tired, laugh out loud. Hmm. Yeah, so, anyways, uh, yeah, I mean, hump day can be a tiring day. ATC as you try to as we try to get through stuff like that, get through the week there. Oh, anyways, we're coming up on 50 minutes now. I'm just trying to kill a little time before I start getting to the next stories here. Trying to stretch things out a bit. Hmm. And let's see now. And we're at 50 minutes. I guess I'll continue on with the story here. Stories here. So here's the next one I was going to look at here. Bleach to release new chapter for 20th anniversary. Tide Kubo's incredibly popular Shonen Jump series will return for a lengthy special chapter to celebrate the series' 20th anniversary, which I guess would started back in 2001, I guess. Article by Michael Lacerna, published 13 hours ago. So let's take a look at this. And so, 5 years after the last chapter was published, Shonen Jump's Bleach will return for a brand new chapter. So back in 2016. Um, Shonen Jump News, unofficial, is reporting that Tide Kubo's supernatural themed shonen epic will return with a completely new 73-page chapter. The new chapter of the series is being released in Weekly Shonen Jump issue number 3637 to commemorate the 20th anniversary of the original publication of Bleach, which premiered in 2001. No other details about the new chapter were given, such as story details, what characters will appear, and what time period it takes place in. The final chapter for Bleach was released in 2016, featured a 10-year time skip that introduced the children of several of the series' main characters. Bleach tells the story of Ichigo Kurosaki, a young man who can see ghosts. Ichigo encounters a woman named Rukia, who is part of an organization known as the Soul Reapers, a group of warriors who are tasked with shepherding recently deceased souls to the afterlife and who also protect the living from hollows, monstrous lost souls that attack humans. Ichigo is eventually recruited into the Soul Reapers himself and is forced into further conflicts with the Hollows, corrupt members of the Soul Reapers, and other supernatural foes, like the Arankars and the Vizards. Bleach was considered one of Shonen Jump's quote-unquote big three franchises in the early thousands. Alongside Masashi Kishimoto's Naruto and Eiichiro Oda's still ongoing One Piece. The manga had a circulation of over 120 million copies worldwide. Anyways, and was adapted into an anime series in 2004 that ran for 8 years. In 2020, it was announced that the anime series would come back for an additional season to adapt the remaining chapters of Kubo's manga. The series was also adapted into a series of video games by Sega and was turned into a live-action movie in 2018 by Warner Brothers Japan. Be going on. Now we got a little bit more of a convert. Well, cool. I know we just have one thing that was. Weatherman says overnight low of 72, then back to 100. Oh, ouch, Woody. Hot in the city. Hot in the city tonight. Anyways. All right. Since the completion of the Bleach manga in 2016, creator Tide Kubo has worked on a number of different projects. Kubo released a new manga series, Burn the Witch. Sounds like an interesting one. In 2000, Burn the Witch takes place in the same universe as Bleach, but is set in England rather than Japan. Kubo once again teamed up with Sega in 2019 to provide character designs for the latest entry in video game publishers' Sakura Wars series, a manga creator who recently released a new illustration of one of Bleach's most famous antagonists, Aizen, to promote the release of Disney Plus's Loki series in Japan. Bleach manga is localized and distributed in English by Viz Media. The anime series is available for streaming on Hulu, Netflix, and Crunchyroll. Oh, there we go for that one. We got Ransom's back. Bleach anime finally returning. Yep. Yeah, that's what they've been talking about. And then in this case, the manga, they're doing a special chapter to celebrate 20 years as well. That's what this article that I was reading was about. Yeah. Ransom, did you were you one of the ones who subscribed yesterday? Because my sub count's now back down to 125. Do you know if you did subscribe, are you still subscribed? Just curious. Anyways, I do appreciate any and all subscriptions, likes, and shares. All that helps get the algorithm up and helps get more people in. So, all right. Well, anyways, and we'll continue on with the article here then. So here's, I guess, the tweet from Shonen Jump Unofficial about that. Oh, wait, actually, we already completed the article. Okay. All right, so moving on to the next anime article then. So then here's the next article we're going to look at here. Violet Evergarden, will there ever be a season 2? 2019 saw the Violet Evergarden movie release, but following the horrendous KyoAni arson attack, there's still no sign of season 2 for the anime. Article written by Timothy Donahue, published 11 hours ago. So there's the main character right there, Violet. Violet Evergarden began as a light novel series in 2014 and quickly went on to win awards in several different categories. Yeah, it was a good anime. It was good story and good artwork. It was beautiful artwork. Featuring a world-weary former soldier who tries to help others as a letter writer, the anime is known for being an incredibly moving tearjerker. True. 2019 saw the release of the Violet Evergarden movie, but following the horrendous arson attack on Kyoto Animation, things have gone quiet on a possible season 2 for the anime. However, there's still plenty of original source material yet to be adapted. Here's what the series is about and how real life events may have pushed its potential second season further back. The plot of Violet Evergarden. The story of Violet Evergarden involves the Otto memory dolls, who began as assistants to Dr. Orland and helped his blind wife write stories. They soon became ubiquitous um, in this role for others, working as ghostwriters to help ideas get written down effectively. The main character is the eponymous Violet Evergarden, um, who was once part of the military. Now, no longer a soldier and trying to make a life for herself, she becomes an auto memory doll and tries to help others express their ideas. This coming of age tale began as a light novel from Kana Katsuki and Kiko Takase, which started on Christmas Day of 2015 and ran until March 2020. It won the grand prize for Kyoto Animation Awards novel category, being the first to win the novel, manga, and scenario categories. KyoAni was also behind the anime adaptation, which ran for 13 episodes in OVA in 2018. This was followed by a two-part animated film titled Violet Evergarden, Eternity and the Auto Memory Doll, the second of which was released um, last September after several delays. Will there be a season 2 of Violet Evergarden? The delay in further production of the Violet Evergarden anime series anime makes sense for a particularly tragic reason. 2019 saw Kyoto Animation become the victim of a deadly arson attack that killed over 30 people and gravely injured almost as many. This was one of the most horrific massacres in modern Japanese history. The studio's releases for upcoming projects and its production for the all new series were understandably delayed. As mentioned, this saw the Violet Evergarden movie, which was dedicated to the victims, released in 2019, with the studio now getting back into the groove of things. Following the attack, it can focus on producing new projects. The ongoing COVID 19 pandemic, however, is likely pushing things back even further. Unfortunately, remarks about the movie in an article suggest it's the closest fans will get to a second season. Shinichiro Hata, the film's producer, stated, Violet Evergarden, the movie, quote unquote, is the finale of this work, which began with the television series. The staff made it with all their heart, and Ishidate nor neither director Ishidate nor Reiko Yoshida, the scriptwriter, can draw anymore. I hope you will warmly watch over the life of a woman named Violet. I strongly hope to share my feelings with the fans who have seen this work and connect those feelings to the future. Thank you very much. Well, with that statement, either the two people he mentioned there, director Ishidate and Reiko Yoshida, either um, either they were two of the victims who ended up passing away from the arson attack, or they got injured so badly that they just physically can't do the work anymore, which is sad. Leto's here. Hey, Leto. Hey, Mike, Woody, Toys, how are y'all? All right? As always, we'll be listening while I'm driving. Drive safely, Leto. Hi, Leto AE. Morning, Woody. As always, of course, I do appreciate any and all likes and shares. That does help get the algorithm up and help get more people in here. So if you can help me out with that, that'd be appreciated. So anyways, as we continue on with the article here, if the movie was indeed the ending to the anime, it leaves much of Violet Evergarden's light novel source material still unadapted. There's yet to be anything official said either way, so fans can remain hopeful that the story of Violet Evergarden will eventually continue with more seasons of the anime. Yeah, it is kind of a nice respite. It's kind of a nice respite from like a lot of action anime and stuff like that. Obviously, nice little slice of life type anime to kind of just take a break. If you want to just relax and watch a good story. Violet Evergarden is pretty good with that. Excuse me a moment, guys. I'll be right back. Dog was getting pretty rowdy, so I had to deal with her. I hear a good dog. Yeah, Chloe can be good. She's just kind of loud and annoying at times. Hey, doggo. Yeah. Well, you guys, I think when I was up in the attic last week, you guys saw. For those who saw me when when I was streaming from the attic, you guys, I think, saw Chloe. She's our German Shepherd, a very aging um, German Shepherd. Jojo Leon manga ending. And there she goes again, of course. Anyways, on to the next story here. All right, so this is the last, and we're already past the hour mark here, hour 11 minutes. So so with that, we will Death Parade. Will there ever be a season 2? Another anime that people are wondering about. Death Parade was, I think, pretty popular too. With a lack of potential story threads going forward and the growing gap since season 1, could the Death Parade anime be effectively deceased? Pun, pun, pun. Article by Timothy Donahue, published 5 hours ago. Yeah, the opening theme song for you. Everybody, put your hands up. Everybody, come on, put your hand. It's one of those opening themes that they seem to make a real production out of. Kind of get what I mean. Excuse me for a moment. I got to just go off camera here for a quick moment. I'll be right back. Okay, so here we go. Based on a short film. Oh wait, did I remember to bring myself back, or am I? Yeah, I'm back. Okay. Want to make sure I didn't keep myself muted and off there. So, anyways, as we move forward, and let's get on into this article. Based on a short film, the Death Parade anime gave an incredibly inventive and downright intoxicating look at what happens between life and death. Featuring a bartender of souls and an ageless battle to determine the afterlife, the anime is the work of the acclaimed studio Madhouse. It's been 6 years since season 1's release. However, making the series now fairly forgotten in the grand scheme of things. With its lack of potential story thread going forward and the growing period of silence from Madhouse, Death Parade may in fact be deceased itself. Here's what the anime is about, along with what we know about a potential second season. The plot of Death Parade. Death Parade was spawned from the plot of an earlier Madhouse short film called Death Billards. Just in case anybody doesn't know, a billard is like pool table, basically. in which two deceased men, one younger and one older, play a game of billiards at a bar for their lives. Oh, that's nice. Before realizing they're already dead. Really nice. This movie came out in 2013 with the Death Parade anime adaptation releasing 2 years later. Relationship between the bartender, Dasim, and his assistant, Chiyuki, is explored throughout the show, and it becomes integral in the latter's final fate. The Sims bar is the last place a deceased person is sent to before their afterlife fate is decided. In the bar, they proceed to play a death game that determines whether or not they'll be reincarnated into another life or simply erased in the void of nothingness. The episodes were somewhat self-contained while also feeding into each other, making the story's unique premise stand out even more. So basically, it sounds like it's one of the few anime out there that's episodic. There's no like overarching story going on there. It's almost like more episodic. So that would make for like, as they were talking about the idea of story threads and all that, make lacking a significant story thread that might connect some episodes together. That would make it a little harder to make another season. Will there be a season 2 of Death Parade? As mentioned, the show released in 2015, and there has been no news regarding a sequel or follow-up. Excuse me a moment, folks. Sorry about this. All right, so that should hopefully silence everything. Yeah, my sister just got home, but she's lingering out in her car, so that's why Chloe's out there barking. She's wanting her mama's attention, and I don't think her mama's ready to give her the attention yet. Sup, bro? Daddy's not much. We're almost done with a lot of the stories. My cat is attacking a loaf of bread. Other than that, not much. Is Mike going to shoot the dog? Oh no, no! I just shut my windows. Just kidding. Mike has a barky dog that's needing some supervision. Yeah, I tried getting her to be quiet and come in the house, but again, she's out there because her mama's out in the car lingering about. Mama just got home a few minutes ago, but she's lingering out there. So you guys know how it. Well, Woody, you might know more than anybody because you're the one with the pet, but you're the other guy with the pet here. You know how pets can be. They like if you've been gone all day, and then they want your attention, and they'll do anything to get it, including become pests. Hey, back from Leto. So yeah, as always, I do of course appreciate any and all likes and shares. Let's see. So here we go. Let's continue on with this story. As mentioned, the show released in 2015, and there has been no news regarding sequel or follow up since the lack of continuation isn't exactly out of the norm for a Madhouse anime. However, the studio is known for producing shows that only last one season, especially if it's an original series not based on a preceding manga or light novel. Although there was the short film that came before it, Death Parade already expanded on that movie's concepts quite a bit, considering its 12-episode length. Thus, continuing from there would take a lot more effort than adapting a pre-existing intellectual property. When combined with the immense span of time since season one, the most likely circumstance is that Madhouse has simply moved on with no plans on making future seasons. And again, as they point out there, yeah, this is they've already done basically what they're saying here is they've already done everything they can with Death Parade. There's not really much more they can do with it. I mean, even in the way that it ran more as an episodic type anime as opposed to a serial anime. So, um, anyways, that's all of the stories tonight. Um, hey, little Woody. Hello, Ransom. He muted, or is that me? Oh, I'm not muted now. Must be you, Batgoat. Yeah, I know sometimes including earlier tonight, I will at times mute and then forget to unmute. But yeah, so I was telling Woody this earlier. So yeah, we got that influx of people last night who kind of raided, and then I had subscriptions up, I had subs up to 131. Well, now I'm back down to 125. So, as Woody put it, easy come, easy go, I guess. But at least one of the people came back, so. C'est la vie, c'est la vie. That's why I want 'em on the talking. All right, so let's see now. So we're done with the main articles. We're already at an hour 23, so we are coming up on an hour and a half. I guess it would be a good time. Well, first off, I'll give you guys a chance to. Is there anything anybody wants to ask me about or mention? I know a few. I know actually, I do know that there has been some talk about situation with the Kadokawa's president, basically talking about possibility of the Japanese companies bending the knee, as it were, to the Twidiots. I know Yellow Flash has reported on that quite a bit. I think Tugs reported on it, and Hero Hayes been reporting on it as well. But apparently, some of the higher ups, some of his bosses were not too keen on that. He had to actually end up giving back a portion of his paycheck. So, or at least the most recent one. So. So yeah, so we're at like an hour 25, 26. So how is everybody doing tonight? You guys doing all right? You guys liking the content? I know some of you did come in pretty late there. Um, I guess people might be. Well, I know Leto's driving. Toy said he'd be lurking. Excuse me a moment. All right, I'm back. Let's see what you guys have been saying since I was gone. Not a couple. Yep, sorry, no problem. That I understand. Can't figure out why my earbuds and headphones are acting like such fairies. I can't help anything. I can't hear anything. Dang it. Well, do you have them plugged in all the way back, Goat? Or it could just simply be that maybe they're just starting to wear out. I know I've had earbuds before, and like after a while, they do begin to wear out and they stop working. Have you tried switching them off and then on again? Just kidding. Wait. Huh. Hmm. Let's see. So, is there anything you guys want to ask about or comment about on the articles maybe I read tonight, or is there anything else you guys been hearing that maybe you want to chat about? Restart worked. Go figure. Hmm. Yeah, sometimes technical issues like that just pop up on you, unfortunately. Okay. So, well, unless there's anything you guys have anything you want to ask about or anything more you want to talk about, guess we can start wrapping up if you guys are ready for this day in each history. We're already at the hour and a half mark, so we were able to stretch it out tonight as we did last night. C'est la vie, c'est la vie. Let's see now. Olympics are poo. Glad I'm not watching them actively. Yeah, there have been a lot of issues. Nietzsche good. Nietzsche good. Okay, and then Nietzsche. All right. All right. Yeah. Well, before I do Nietzsche, I'll address what. Yeah, that's history time. Yeah. Yeah, that's been the kind of the case of the Olympics. It's been a garbage shoot right there. So, anyways, all right. So, without any further ado, today is Wednesday, July 28th, 2021. Let's take a look back at this day in each history. So, our first stop is actually going to be 80 years ago today, on this date in 1941. On this date in 1941, the 20th issue of Target Comics from Novelty Comics went on sale on this date. In 1941, it looked like it was sold for 10 cents for 64 pages. At least from what we can see of the cover there, it looked like it was a very patriotically themed comic with an emphasis somewhat on. It looked like you see in the main picture there. Looked like maybe some war stories involved there, as well as a possible superhero there up in the upper left-hand corner. So, on this date, 80 years ago today, the 20th issue of Target Comics from Novelty Comics went on sale on this date. So, there we go with that one. They are. Should Vic Mignogna work at Ocean Studios in Canada? If he was, if they allowed him to ransom, yes, it would be nice to see him work at Ocean if Ocean was even active. I don't even know if Ocean's as active anymore as it used to be. I mean, I would love to see him go back to Sentai as well and work there. The only problem with that, with him going up, because apparently he mentioned this in a he mentioned this at one of his panels last year, where Ocean actually, there were people at Ocean that actually wanted him to go up and work for them. Okay, but the thing is that he couldn't, because he was not a Canadian citizen. And part of the thing is that particularly for Canadian companies, I guess they get like tax breaks as long as they use like Canadian citizens. So if Vic was to go up there, then Ocean would lose its tax status or something like that. So that's some kind of like subsidiary program or tax program to where, as long as they use Canadian citizens for their work, they get like tax and significant tax breaks up there. Vic actually addressed this at a panel of his last year, so I remember that. So that's why, I mean, would it be nice for him to? Yeah, it would be nice. I'd love to see him work more with a number of. I'd love to see him go back. I myself would love to see him go back to Houston and work with Sentai, which is basically the follow up to ADV. So yeah. So anyways, let's see what else is being said here. My dad would have been 15 then. So that means your dad would have probably been born in 1926, I take it? He joined the Navy 2 years later to fight in World War II. Uh, there you go. So, anyways, um, moving on to the next piece of niche history is counter drop back down to two again. Let's see. 1926, where back go, as you should know by now, I'm pretty good with the math, at least basic math. Funimation, the worst dubbing studio. Well, I think to me their work is about as good as anybody. Obviously, I like I do like ADV Sentai quite a bit. I like the New York crew. I like the Canadian crew. Funimation, they do all right. It's just that the garbage they pulled on Vic was just wrong. And hopefully Vic will eventually get justice. Just all still waiting to hear on the appeals there of his case. So, anyways, back to happier things here. Back to this day in each history as we move ahead from 1941 to our next stop, which is in 2006, which is 15 years ago today. As on this, well, let me check on here. All right. So, anyways, so on this date in 2006, 15 years ago today, Disney Channel would premiere two series on this date 15 years ago today. The Replacements and Shorty McShort's Shorts. Try saying that one 3 times fast. Shorty McShort Shorts and The Replacements both premiered on Disney Channel on this date back in 2006, which was 15 years ago. So, all right, and before I get to the last bit of niche history, just to give you guys a heads up, Nick is streaming tonight. He's, I guess, going to be going through some Sophie Long document. I don't know if you guys probably did at some point hear about that with, with Sophie Long, that nasty custody battle down in Texas. I know Chambers has reported on it. Nick has reported on it in the past. So a few people reported on it, but Nick's going to be going over some documents, I guess. Let's see now, Ransom. Did you watch Rurouni Kenshin? Yeah, I've seen Rurouni Kenshin. It was pretty cool. I watched the dub version of it. Of course, it was dubbed out here in LA. I believe Studiopolis they've done the dubbing of it. I know Richard Cancino was the voice of Kenshin in that. Lex Lane was involved. That Dorothy Fain or Fawn. So, anyways, as we now get into we get to the last piece in each history for the night. As on this date 5 years ago in 2016, the OVA My Teen romantic comedy Snafu from Field Studios premiered on this date. It was released as part of a bundle with the limited edition of the My Teen Romantic Comedy Snafu to PS Vita game. So, My Teen Romantic Comedy Snafu OVA was released as part of, it was bundled with a video game on this date in 2016. And here's Void Ranger back. Is Bryn April a good actress? She seems all right. I think her voice work seems pretty good. Um, and from everything I'd seen, she hadn't actually been getting any involved in any of the Kick Vic stuff or any cancel culture stuff. Um, so, and from what I understand, I think let me double check. I think she might be actually married, in fact, to one of the other Funimation voice actors. Let's double check that. Okay, no, I thought she might have been married to one of the. Um, I'm thinking of Afia Yu. Afia Yu is the one who's married to Micah Solasard. But yeah, Brent April has apparently been a voice actress at Funimation since 2013. She's actually 25 years old, so she's actually pretty young. Guess she was 17 when she got started. So, among, of course, Bren's works include she does the English voice of Mimosa Vermilion in Black Clover. She was Sagumi Harudoni in Soul Eater. She was Krista Lenz and Historia Race in the Attack on Titan franchise. Those are some of her works. But as far as I know, I mean, if you've heard her in any of those, then I guess you can judge for yourself if you think she's a good voice actress or not. Non-Funimation is non-Funimation or defunimation is better. Okay, let me just point something out too, and I've pointed this out too. Not everybody at Funimation is bad. Okay, yeah, you have that group of people who tried to really. You had that group of individuals who tried to really go after Vic, and some of them who were in power, like Chris Sabat, tried to, bully others into. But not every one of them, In fact, I even asked this when Vic was interviewed by Nick Rekieta about a month or so ago, where even Vic acknowledged that some of them have said to him privately that they kind of support him and acknowledge that what's being done to him is wrong. It's just that they're not in a position to really stand, because what would then happen is they'd start getting, blackballed basically by Funimation. Albeit, my argument would be, well, if that's the case, go over to Sentai then, go over to Sentai and work there then. That's the. Will you attend virtual Crunchyroll Expo 2021? I will not. I will not attend a virtual con. Okay? It's the principle of the matter. Okay? I believe that if you're going to go to a con, go to it. Okay. Um, the whole idea of going to the con is to have the full experience. Okay. So the whole idea of virtual stuff, I mean, as human beings, we need to be in close proximity to each other. That's how our social skills develop. Now, granted, I know people argue, well, what about this? Yeah, well, I mean, you know, true enough, but it'd even be better if people, were able to physically. I agree with that, Mike. Well, thank you, Becco. Yeah, as human beings, we need to be physically around each other. You know, there's only so much you can do talking over a phone or even looking at each other over. I know this is going to become strange coming from somebody who has autism and probably does at times have trouble picking up on social cues and all that. But the only way you're going to be able to properly pick up on like social cues or anything like that is by physically being there. Looking at somebody through a screen like this can only tell you so much. You know, the vibe you get from people um, has a lot to how you interpret things too. So I won't attend. If I'm going to attend a con, I'm going to attend it, not not just participating in it virtually. Did you watch Darling in the Franxx? I haven't got around to that yet. I probably will eventually. um, Probably will eventually. I work my way, through. So, anyways, guys, we're at an hour 47, coming up on an hour 48. We already got through this day in each history, so I thank everybody for being here. Couple reminders, of course. This Friday will be our weekly look at comics history. Pat Goat will hopefully join me as we get into February 1938. This Friday we'll looking back to DC Comics that came out, went on sale in February of 38. Reading over our standard fares, of Slam, Speed, Doctor Occult, Steve Carson, the Federalman, and Radio Squad. And aside from that, let's see. Also, and I know for the newer people, you're probably going to want fabulous. And for the new people, you're going to want to hear this too. On Monday, September 6th, that'll be Labor Day here in the States. We will be doing an open mic night. So anybody can come in and hang out and chat it up. So, yeah. Well, Woody, the clock is actually in Quality Comics. We may not see him for a while because the clock is really the only hero in Quality right now. We'll probably be doing the milestone method for a while until more of the heroes start debuting. Then we'll probably be back to seeing more of the clocks work. So I can't tell you when we'll get to the clock again. Because we but the stuff planned through I do have the stuff planned through October 1st. So by the end of August here, we'll be through March of 1938, and then by October the 1st, we'll be all the way through May of 1938. So we are going to be moving through the stuff pretty soon. Okay. Assassination Classroom is good. Yeah, I've seen that on Toonami. Yeah, so that is pretty good. Pretty interesting, pretty funny. Anyways, guys, I think it's a good time to wrap up. So I will hopefully see you all tomorrow. Bye. Thank you again.